Hey, it's Brett, your public forum captain, along with Aiden, and today we're going to talk about the March topic. The March topic is resolve. The United States should no longer pressure Israel to work towards a two-state solution.
So let's get into some of the definitions. Remember, the topic is resolved. The United States should no longer pressure Israel to work towards a two-state solution. Once again, should is used to indicate obligation, duty, or correctness, typically when criticizing someone's actions. Should can imply morality, and you want to get more evidence on that to strengthen your case if you want to include human rights violations and things concerning life over economic values. You want to make sure you create a link between should and the use of morality. Next is pressure, the use of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make someone do something. So basically, pressuring can come from diplomatic ways, it can come from foreign leaders making suggestions to the prime minister, typically between President Netanyahu of Israel and President Donald Trump. So this is what we can be seen with pressure. Next, Israel. If you don't know, Israel is a small nation between Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea. And an example of a large city in Israel is Tel Aviv. It's in a very controversial area, and it is basically a country that has a majority of Jewish and Muslim citizens living in it. So, a two state solution, this is probably the most important term, is a remedy of the Israeli Palestinian conflict which calls for two states for two groups of people. The two state solution envisages an independent state of Palestine along with the state of Israel west of the Jordan River. So, the dynamic you need to look at here is that Israel consists of the Jewish people and the Palestinians are Arabs. And there's currently a lot of conflict going on in the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and these are two places that have had constant fighting between Jews and Arabs. So, what a two state solution would do would divide these two peoples into two separate lands. So,
One good contention idea is pressure on Israel damages the American-Israeli alliance. The U.S.-Israeli relations are very important for cooperation on a wide range of security issues, including terrorism and nuclear proliferation. The two countries share intelligence on terrorism, nuclear power, and the Middle Eastern politics. Israel's military experiences have shaped the United States approach to counterterrorism and homeland security. The two governments work together to develop sophisticated military technology, such as the David Sling's counter-rocket and aero missile defense systems, which may soon be ready for export to other U.S. allies. So you want to see here how the pressure on the Israel damages the American-Israeli alliance, and you want to find data and warrants to support that. Another contention idea is that a one-state solution prevents more conflict. The United States should stop forcing Israel into a two-state solution, as a one-state solution will better prevent conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. A one-state solution is a likely option absent a two-state plan. Because the creation of a two-state solution will not be able to solve the conflict. Segregation, discrimination, and military repression are never the answer in the long term because they fail to address the roots of the conflict. They merely prolong an inevitable clash, which is bound to occur in the future. Even if Israel were to reverse decades of policy and decides to allow the creation of a Palestine state, it would not necessarily be the most viable option at this point.
So let's get into some negative ideas. Remember, the resolution says the United States should no longer pressure Israel to work toward a two-state solution. In other words, you want to make sure the United States keep pressuring Israel to achieve the solution. One argument that you could make is that the two-state solution is probably the smartest option. There has been so much conflict and tension between these two states for so many years, and the history goes back so far. The Arabs have many times gone into bombings, car ramming accidents into Israeli citizens, and also radical Israelis have also worked to do terrible things to Palestinian citizens. On both sides, innocent people have died, and there are huge human rights violations going on. Also, diplomatic relations are practically non-existent, and communication is constant banter, back and forth with no real insight to a solution. This is a serious problem. The two-state solution provides a simple and mutual agreement that these two states can achieve. Remember, if the Palestinian authorities do not even recognize Israel as a legitimate state, there is no way that negotiations and diplomatic relations would solve this issue of peace. And that is why it is imperative that a two-state solution is added so the people can be in separate places and also there will be no more conflicts. The second contention or second idea you can use is that a two-state solution would indeed work. With the constant uprisings going on between Israel and Palestine, something has to be done. And no enactment has ever worked in the past. So how do we know that the two-state solution will work unless we try it? We have to make sure that we're trying something new here. So, the Arab response to Israel was unequivocal. With no peace with Israel, with no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with it. This is the type of talk coming from a neighboring area to Israel. A solution that will work, or will at least give a shot to a solution, should be enacted. We need to see a resolution fall through, because this statement proves the terrible terms that both sides are on with each other, and the citizens of each country are in harm's way because of this. As I said earlier, it is imperative that a two-state solution is enacted because there is just no way that a negotiation or a one-state solution could even be possible. Another claim you can use is that the United States should pressure Israel because both sides would have to agree on the solution first. And it also achieves mutual recognition for the United States and Israel. So both sides won't necessarily have to agree upon the solution because the United Nations would be the ones pushing and pursuing for the solution anyway. But it's a completely mutual decision, meaning there's nothing to fight over. However, the land would be divided is a topic of discussion, and this would happen in the United Nations. But the land itself would be so equal that there would be no need for argument. The only thing that would be used for argument is the land divided in Jerusalem and the holy sites surrounding the city. Also, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, how those territories are divided would also be a topic for discussion. So basically, the United States would help mitigate these issues, and both sides would have to make sacrifices, but in the end, this would be the smartest thing to do. According to the Fathom Journal, Israel and Palestine shall immediately establish full diplomatic relationship, and both nations are being told that it will be divided evenly, and they are not allowed to intrude on these lands. So basically, it sounds like this is a practical solution for both Israel and Palestine, because a full diplomatic relationship and mutual agreement would solve this issue. They have already said that ambassadors would be sent to each side of the country. So as you can see, the two-state solution indeed does call for peace. It is the smartest solution, and both nations will be divided evenly, and the holy sites would be distributed evenly and mitigated by the United Nations. That is why a two-state solution is imperative. Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed. Remember to check the briefs to get evidence. Remember, this is a topic that is going to be highly debated, and many people will feel personal connections to this issue. So make sure you keep it professional in the debate, no matter what side you think. Remember, this topic is not Israel versus Palestine. It is not Jewish versus Arab. It is clearly about whether a two-state solution would be best for the entire region. You want to make sure your arguments are not pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. They are either pro for both of these things or pro for the region in general. And once again, my final statement is that the resolution says the United States should no longer pressure Israel to work toward a two-state solution. Remember, it's not just a two-state solution that you're arguing for. It is also saying whether pressuring Israel would even relate to this two-state solution. So first you have to clearly define the impact of pressure, and then clearly define the impact of a two-state solution. It's a very tricky topic, and you need to make sure the route you will be debating is clearly met, and the links are clearly established. Thank you. Remember to check Schoology and the briefs.